Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Bad Calls, Balls, and Brawls. And this week in Miami sports, something is always going on, but this time, I promise you, something is really, really, really going on. We have two teams headed to the playoffs, the Heat and the Panthers. And I couldn't think of a better person to bring on my show this week than someone who covers our teams for a living and does such a great job doing it. So without further ado, let me bring on Josh Moser. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh my
Appreciate you.
goodness. Thank you for being here. This is fantastic. So this is the best time to cover Miami sports. I can't imagine covering a sports market and the teams are doing bad. You have the best job right now.
It's great. I mean, you talk about the Canes in there too. Their baseball team's #2 in the country. The buzz about their football team, basketball team just went to the Elite Eight. You're talking realistically the favorites to win the East with the Heat. You're talking the favorites to win the East with the Florida Panthers. The Marlins are kind of this upstart fun team that hopefully will exceed expectations.
I sure
And
hope.
of course, you've got Inter Miami now has a win, so a lot going on.
Oh my goodness. So currently you are the lead sports anchor at WSVN, which is personally my favorite news channel down here. But you didn't start there, right? You have a career before that. So kind of tell us what led you up to, WSVN Channel 7 News and what brought you down to South Florida. Kind of want to know who Josh really is.
Oh man. Basically, I'm the broken college athlete that didn't want to grow up and get a real job, so I
Me
just
and you
turned it
both.
into a career. No, so I grew up in Southern California. I
Okay.
went to Westlake High School. We have a lot of athletes in our area and a lot of sports people within the industry in Los Angeles. And I went to USC, got a journalism degree there. Then I
Okay.
started producing at the NFL Network. And then I got my first on-air TV job in 2010 in Grand Junction, Colorado at
Wow.
KREX TV. There was a little bit of a pipeline from LA that started in that market, and it was phenomenal. We had the Junior College World Series. We were live in Aspen all of the time. And then from Grand Junction, I went to Denver and worked for KUSA, 9 News there. I covered the Broncos, the Avalanche, the Rockies were great. We had CU, CSU, so similar market to Miami, actually.
Yeah.
And then I left Denver to go to Green Bay to be the lead sports anchor and the sports director at the Fox affiliate. And then I
Perfect.
had a show on Bally called Inside the Huddle with Packers players. So it was Devontae Adams, who's now a Raider, Randall Cobb, who's still there, Jordy Nelson,
Jordan
who was retired,
Nelson.
yeah, Donald Driver. So that's the crew up there. Clay Matthews, who I've known since I was 5 years old. So it's sports has always just kind of been a part of my life, and I get to say the cliche that I'm truly living the dream. I'm living my dream, and the best part is sharing it with so many people.
Definitely. So many questions with that. So
Yeah.
Green Bay. Now, the Green Bay, Lambeau Field. I've never been, but tell me about it. Is it the greatest, or is it? What do you? It's the
How
tundra.
do
It's
I
probably the coldest.
It's freezing, but Green Bay and Lambeau Field on a Sunday, there's no NFL experience like it. It really has a college feel because it's in a neighborhood. And you see people parking on lawns, coming across the street, everyone's passing you a beer, and people are there. Normally, it's a late start there around 3 o'clock. People are in the parking lot drinking at 7:30 in the morning. It
Goodness.
is special. There was a college game there between LSU and Wisconsin. People were roasting alligator. Guys brought in hot tubs. They were sitting in the hot tub when it's 5 degrees outside. But when you talk about just a community feel for a team, that entire state is so invested in the Packers. And then when you combine it with winning, they've been in the playoffs, I think, all but 2 seasons in the last 15 years. And to have the stability at quarterback to go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers and just constantly create that winning culture, especially with the players that they've had, it's been a special place. And really, I think they are a model for building a winning team in football. But then you could argue Aaron only has one Super Bowl title. Was actually just here for Bitcoin weekend in Miami, so I just saw
So
him.
I'm
Uh,
glad you brought up
so
Aaron
yeah,
Rodgers because Aaron's one of those very well respected football, players, very quarterback that everyone loves or hates. But covering him for those years, was it tough? Was he easy to talk to? Was he like a Jim Butler that's very playful with the media? Or was it kind of like what we see is what you get with him? I had to ask.
so Aaron is the type of person that you need to earn his respect,
Earn it.
and
Okay.
you can earn his respect by asking good questions. And he's very astute. He notices everything. He's very attentive to anything that goes on in the room. He's
Yeah.
definitely gotten a little bit lighter and less serious as the years have gone on. But when I first got there, it was the 2016 season. I was there for 5.5 seasons covering the team. It really took me 2 seasons until he trusted me, and that was, reaching out to other people that he knows. I know his agent very well at Athletes First. They have a big training complex in my hometown in Westlake Village. So it was working angles in the off season and also doing really good work on air where it's like, all right, this guy's good. I will trust him. And he purposely fed me some things to see if I would say something or not. And, it's about being a professional and treating each other with respect. And, if you give respect to Aaron, he'll give it right back.
So you get the holiday cards from the Aaron Rodgers family and everything now. You're part of the family. Are you getting the Christmas card
holiday
yet?
Card. Randall Cobb, I get the Christmas cards from.
Oh, Randall Cobb, you get the Christmas cards from. Okay. That's
but
awesome.
Not Aaron Rodgers, no.
So I want to ask you, since, you spent, before coming to Miami, Green Bay was like your thing. Compare the Green Bay Packers fans, those cheesehead fans, to what you see with us Miami fans. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I'm a diehard Miami fan, but a lot of the Miami fans are very like hit or miss, especially with the Dolphins. You see the up and downs, but you can't blame us for what's going on. How do you compare a cheesehead to a Dolphins fan, honestly, from what you see?
So I will say when you walk down the streets in Green Bay, they know who every single player is. They know where he went to college. They know his backstory. They know who his wife is. Granted, there's only, like 75,000 people in Green Bay proper, roughly 250,000 people kind of in Northeast Wisconsin. Here in Miami, outside of a diehard fan, if you were just to walk down the street, outside of Tua, I really don't know if the average person could name a person on the Dolphins. Truly, which is sad.
Very fair.
He's going to surprise a lot of people, but it's just such a subculture. Everybody does it. My favorite story that I ever covered in Green Bay, I met this family, and every Sunday they watch the football game together. 5 generations. So we have great-great-grandmother who is 100 years old, and then 5 generations down to 2 years old. And every Sunday they get in the basement, they have their food, they watch the football game, and it's incredible that they get to do that. But it's just so ingrained in the culture. Here, I feel like everyone's more concerned about, going out and what restaurant you're going to and being in the scene and social media. But Miami, obviously, a very different city than Green Bay, Wisconsin.
No, definitely. I can relate to that, especially like when we go to Heat games at the FTX Arena. And like, as you know, like when the opponents shoot a foul throw, we go, Pollo. And then like when Jimmy Butler's shooting a free throw, they're like MVP. I'm like, no, guys, like shut up. Like this is not the time to do it. So like sports in Miami, it's just very hit or miss. So, thanks for sharing that about Green Bay, because I'm not saying all Dolphins fans are like that. Obviously, we have diehards, but it's just a different culture down here, and it's you're either in it or you're not. So it's very different.
Teams are starting to win. So when teams start to win, people pay attention. So that culture's here. And obviously the Heat are bringing back the White Hot campaign, which is
I cannot wait to talk to you about that. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. So you go 2006. So they know what works. They're trying to get the community involved. But remember, especially in Miami itself, we're not talking about Broward County, but in Miami, you have so many Cubans, Colombians, Venezuelans, Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
So it's just a different culture, different melting pot than a traditional sports city.
Definitely. No, you said you're from Southern California, so I just want to straight up ask you, who are your teams? Obviously, you work in the sport industry, but you're still a fan at the end of the day. Like, who are your teams? This way I don't bash like the Lakers or somebody before I find out who your teams are.
No, it's okay. So I grew up in the Raiders and Rams basically moved away. So we grew out, or I grew up without an NFL team. So it was pretty much UCLA, USC, where I went to undergrad.
Yep.
And then it was the Lakers because the Clippers didn't really have anybody at that point.
Yeah.
Staples was just built, and then everybody's a Dodger fan down there. But it's a Lakers and Dodgers town. I got to see Kobe Bryant and Shaq win. Shaq obviously was here in Miami.
Oh my goodness,
now you see Ernie Johnson every night, and he hasn't changed. I just had his 50th birthday down here, so ran into him. Man, that guy is unbelievable.
Oh, he's something else. Yeah, I wish he would run for mayor some of the times. He's his own personality. He's great. So another thing I wanted to ask you, I have to admit, yes, I watch you during the week, and you do a fantastic job. And if you ever want an early retirement, like please put the good word in. But I want you to be there for a long time because I'm not ready for your position yet. But on behalf of the whole sport, South Florida sport community, you do awesome. And we're really proud to have someone like you. Even though you're newer to the South Florida area, you kick butt at it. So continue to do what you do. We really appreciate it. But my favorite segment that you do is the Sunday night 7 Sports Extra. And I got to admit, it's a little late for my liking. So if you ever want to make it a little earlier, I'd appreciate it.
I'm working on that.
Please do. And I personally use a lot of your content on Sunday night for my shows throughout the week, because you just do fantastic. But I got to tell you, your co-host, Drew Rosenhaus. Now, I was a sport management major growing up. I went to St. John's University. I wrote so many papers on Drew Rosenhaus. I wanted to be Drew Rosenhaus. Like, I wanted to be a sport agent. How is it doing a show with a man with that caliber, with that sport knowledge, and with that sport respect? Like, is it intimidating? Do you feel it's easy to bounce off of him? How is it working with Drew Rosenhaus?
No, so Drew's great, first and foremost.
Is he?
His wife Lisa is amazing. His kids are fantastic. Drew's the consummate professional. And Drew and I go back a long way. So I've been covering the NFL for 12 years. And I got to know him early on when I was covering the Broncos. And you're right, he does have a lot of respect because he's been doing it for so long. And Drew is not intimidating at all.
He's
Drew
not?
is
Okay,
a big
good.
softie. But it's kind of funny when you step back and you're just like, huh, like the movie Jerry Maguire, that's Drew Rosenhaus, like what?
Yeah.
Or you think about all of the guaranteed money that he gets his clients, and then you're just like, you get 4% of that? Like, holy crap, you're making, over $100 million a year.
So wild.
But Drew is, in my opinion, I believe there are 3 people in Miami that are very important sports figures that live here. And I think it's Dan Marino.
Yeah.
I think behind that, you have the one and only Pat Riley. And then I would probably put Drew 3, just as far as his content, his reach, everything that he has and what he's built. I mean, to me, he's the premier agent along with David Mulgeta at Athletes First in Los Angeles. Drew obviously putting together this Tyreek Hill trade and then making him the highest paid wide receiver in league history. That is just special. But, he provides great insight. He's a wonderful person. And excited for that relationship. It's my favorite part of the week, doing 7 Sports Extra and having Drew on the show. I look forward to it. And, hopefully we'll be doing it for a long time.
You guys,
and then we'll bring you in, of course.
Oh, I'd love to be on the show one day. But I don't get starstruck with athletes. I've been in the sport industry for probably 10, 15 years now. But when I see Drew on the sidelines at Dolphins games, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's so I don't know. It's just because I admired him growing up. I wasn't the type who I admired Derek Jeter. I didn't want to be shortstop of the Yankees. I didn't want to, be a WNBA player. I wanted to be a sport agent. So seeing someone like that and then seeing you with him, I'm like, this is amazing. But you guys bounce off each other real great. You do fantastic. So real great
I will
job.
say this about Drew. Drew, why he's so successful, in my opinion, he's one of the hardest working people I've ever met. He's on a plane, FaceTime with all of these players. He spends all of his time with these athletes. And he is nonstop, go. He's plugged in. He's 54 years old. He looks fantastic. And his wife, Lisa, makes sure, he's taken care of and he's in good shape. He's like, I need you. But,
I need to know his secret. I'm like, it's the Miami Sun, but we all have that excuse. But no, he's a great guy.
Drew Rosenhaus.
Good. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, so I was all happy about going to Chicago last week. I think I won the trip for Valley Sports, but you were in Chicago the week before, but your trip was a little cooler. So you covered the Canes out in Chicago. They were in the tournament, and you had to spend time at the United Center. Isn't that arena one of the best? Or am I just? When I went to the United Center, I thought it was just amazing. The trophies, and then you took the same picture I took with the Michael Jordan statue. What is your opinion on the United Center?
When you talk about basketball, there's Madison Square Garden, which is the Mecca, and then I think right behind it is the United Center, just simply because of what Michael Jordan built. I've got a lot of family in Chicago, so I was very lucky as a kid to go to Michael Jordan games as a kid. And then in Southern California, we had this Michael Jordan flight school basketball camp at UC Santa Barbara. So I was able to go to that a few times as a kid, and then got to know his son Jeffrey and Marcus, and we still keep in touch here and there. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's got his great golf course up here, Grove 23 in Jupiter. But when you talk about icons of sports figures, I've got his North Carolina jersey hanging in my office. It was Michael Jordan. He was the guy.
That was your guy? See, mine was Jason Kidd. I grew up as a Nets fan. I tell everyone every episode, I say I'm not going to repeat that I'm from New Jersey, but I'm from New Jersey. So I grew up on that 95 I'm aging myself, but that like 95 to like 2000 like team. So Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn, Mutombo, like that was mine. But you were more like Michael Jordan. I don't remember Michael Jordan playing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember as a kid, everybody, from the shoes, the McDonald's commercials, the Dream Team, it was Michael Jordan was everywhere. The cigars that kind of Jimmy Butler's recreated a picture of him with a little hat on. But, for me, Jordan was just the ultimate competitor, and just his style and everything that he brought from a cultural perspective to basketball as a white Jewish kid in Los Angeles. You're like, I want to be that. So
no, definitely. No, MG is great. So another thing I want to talk to you about is you have a good bad problem, right? You cover right now two amazing teams. You cover the Heat and the Panthers. So isn't that like a great problem to have? But with that, I personally, and I always fault myself with this, the Panthers, cardiac cats. I mean, you say it on the air, and I get so excited because I don't say it enough. Panthers going into the playoffs, right? Tell us, what are your predictions? This is a young team, exciting. Where do you see it going? Do you see a quick exit? And they're not scoring 1 or 2 goals a game. They're scoring 5, 6. They're destroying teams. So what do you kind of see the Panthers going into the playoffs? What are you excited to see? How do you kind of see this panning out?
I see them going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
I think they are definitely the team to beat in the East. Obviously, they're going to lock up the 1 seed. But you talk about the continuity between Alexander Barkov and Jonathan Huberdeau. I mean, they've been there for so long. Then you bring in Claude Giroux. I love Bill Zito. He has put all of these pieces in place, and he's done it in less than 2 years. There's a reason why this team has been as good as they are. And I truly believe that it's Bill Zito. And you forget, Coach Quenneville resigned, and they're doing this with interim head coach Andrew Burnett. Imagine if he was around, who won Stanley Cups in Chicago. But this team is special. Colorado scares me a little bit. Just with what
so that is the team that you're scared is the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah. What about the Lightning? Nothing with the Lightning?
The Lightning, they've won the last 2 years, but I really think in that 6-game series last year, the Panthers figured it out. They know their mistakes. That's why everybody came back. I truly believe that the third time is a charm. I know it's a sports cliche, but last year you had the over-the-cap T-shirts and all of the extra pieces. Remember, if Aaron Ekblad can come back from his injury, he's going to be another piece. Hopefully they can get him in. Hopefully it's not a Victor Oladipo situation with the Heat where he's coming in so late. He's most likely not going to be a huge part of the rotation. But I think the Panthers have a great chance to make the Stanley Cup Finals, and I really hope that they do. And this community really needs to realize what's in Sunrise, because I know the games are packed. It's full at FLA Live Arena, but there needs to be a buzz from the community. But I mean, how do you
I
play
feel
hockey
like I'm letting the
community
down because I'm supposed to be like Miss 305 Sports Babe. And it's like, I personally live in Miami Beach, and no excuse. Sunrise is like 30 minutes up the road. And I'm telling myself, hey, they're even playing on Friday. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's Good Friday. But no, I watch them. We watch the games, but you're right. There's not enough respect for them. So with both teams going into the playoffs, the Heat and the Panthers, do you get to decide who you want to cover? Are you going to be going to any away games, or how does that work on your side?
So my bosses decide. So we will be traveling with the Heat. Luckily, the Heat start 2 weeks earlier. So the Heat are starting this Sunday.
Yeah.
And so we will be traveling to the first round, whether we're taping this right now. So we've got the Atlanta game happening right now against the Hornets. We'll see if it's the Cavs. So it's one of those 3 cities. And then we'll travel the rest of the way. And then, luckily I work with 3 people. I work with Mikey Pasquale and Donovan Campbell, who've been in the market for almost 40 years combined. So, we'll split it up. But, then we have the Dolphins, too. They've got their off-season program. There's a lot of buzz about that team. Canes baseball is number 2 in the country. So there's a lot of sports going on. So we'll try to pick and choose as much as we can and spread it out. But Heat are definitely, the team in town. And but I think the Panthers have a better shot. The Bucks scare me. They just do it. I covered the Bucks when I was in Green Bay. Obviously, we saw what happened last year. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Luckily, we won't see them or the Celtics until at least the Eastern Conference Finals. Great draw. The bracket set up as best as possible, in my opinion.
I'm so glad you brought up the Heat, because I was like, do I start my show with the Heat? Because if I started with it, I wouldn't have asked anything about you. I would have, would have been a whole story about the Heat. But it's a good problem that you have, covering obviously 2 winning teams, but talking about the Heat. So you did let us know, because I watched your 6 o'clock show. So what are they doing in the Bahamas? There's no time for rest. No, just kidding. They need to have a little fun.
Yeah, a lot of times in a lot of the teams that I've covered, better winning teams, it's the chemistry in the locker room. You might have the most talent out of any team, but it's how cohesively can you work together. And you
Definitely.
wouldn't believe how much those stupid trips really make a difference. It's playing around a golf, playing this, where you just get to chat and trust each other. And when you get a chance to do that, it creates a bond. I know it sounds cliche, but it
No.
really, really helps. And the fact that they went and did it all together and they put aside their personal families, like, hey, you've got 3 days off, you're millionaires, you're in Miami, you can do
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. The world is your oyster. But I put a lot of that on Udonis Haslem. I mean, he's the mayor
He's
of this
amazing.
team. He's the OG, and he's the glue. There's a reason why they kept him on a roster as a player to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I think this team, it, they have a chance. They have a really, really good chance. It could be special.
Yeah, no, with the whole thing with UD, the whole thing with Jimmy Butler, and that happened a few weeks ago. I don't know, like it broke my heart. And I'm like, then Coach Spo's like, you're crazy and this, that. So, but it's locker talk. Things, as I said, you were an athlete, I was an athlete, stuff like that happens, but get it out. But looking into the playoffs, like during these post games, a lot of times over the past few games, the reporters are asking, who do you want to see in the playoffs? Who do you not want to see in the playoffs? And our team, they're not answering it. You know what I mean? No one's saying it. I'll be the first to admit, I'll be the one. I don't want to see Brooklyn. I don't want to see KD. I don't want to see Kyrie. I don't want to see Andre Drummond. How are you feeling about that? Like, is it you said the Bucks, but am I over exaggerating Brooklyn? Am I like I was
Not
so
at all.
happy that they won last night. I could have done
Yeah,
it outside.
100%. Exactly. Exactly. You did not want to see Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think first round, I would like to see the Hawks because I think that gives Bam the best chance. Bam's coming off of being
Yeah.
in health and safety protocols. We know that he's vaccinated. We know that he did test positive
Yeah.
for COVID, just like we knew Eric Spoelstra tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
The Bucks they have the most pieces and they're the healthiest.
So it's the
KD can
Bucks
put
that
the
are
team on
scaring
his
you.
back. Yeah, so I think the Nets will have to go through the Bucks. So like they'll match up. So luckily the Heat won't have to worry about that. When you get such a good draw and realizing that it's the 76ers, I don't trust James Harden, or the Raptors, who are a scrappy team, but we saw what the Heat did to them in the regular season. So I think you're moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals at that point. And then whether it is the Nets, the Celtics, or the Bucks, they're going to beat up on each other in that second
So
round game.
true.
So we'll see what happens. But you talk about the Nets in the last few weeks now that Kyrie's playing in all these games, they finished in the top 10 in offense and the top 10 in defense. And that's exactly what you want. They're peaking at the right time, and can they stay healthy and can they figure it out? I mean, this is why they're doing it. I mean,
They
had
just
Kyrie
looked good
played all
last
year,
night. Yeah, seeing
they
them.
look great.
Yeah, and
But the Cavs hung around. So we'll see. But
yeah, no, I'm hoping that I don't want to play Atlanta. Trey scares me. I want to play against Charlotte. I think we'll be okay against Charlotte. I think we'll be okay against Cleveland. And then, I don't want to sleep on Philly, but going on the West, since you're a West Coast boy, do you think the Suns are going to dominate, or do you think they're going to start choking in the playoffs? How do you feel about the West?
I don't know. I love Chris Paul, so I think a
Chris
lot
Paul,
depends on how healthy he is. He's the key piece for that team. I know Devin Booker, is their all-star, but Chris Paul's the veteran and he wants to ring. Their center's gotten much, much better. I'm curious, nobody's talking about the Grizzlies. They didn't have John Morant. He was gone for a long time. They have the 2 seed. So curious to see what they can do. But I think the East, in my opinion, is a stronger conference. I'd say the
Agreed.
Warriors, I don't think they're healthy enough. So I think it's more who comes out of the East is going to be the tougher team, but the West could have an easier road. But the Suns are obviously the favorite, and I would expect them to be in the finals.
Definitely. And I only have you for like a few more minutes, but I have to ask you about the Marlins. So see you tomorrow at opening day, right?
You got it. I'll be there.
Start for the Marlins, though. I mean, I don't want to say it's a new start because obviously we're bringing it home, but I'm excited to add Soler. But Jazz batting late in the lineup last night, that controversial call. What do you see with the Marlins? I mean, every year I go into this thinking, but it's a tough division. But what do you kind of see with the Marlins this year?
Maybe 75 wins.
75.
They just don't have enough. Yeah, they don't have enough. It's so hard to compete against payrolls like the Phillies, like the Nationals, like the Braves. I mean, they have arguably the toughest division in baseball going back to last season. You start off against the Giants. They had the most wins in baseball last year. Angels, they ran into a tough break last night.
Yeah.
I think Jazz Chisholm has a chance to be a really, really good player. I love Sandy Alcantara. Obviously, he's an ace. I think he's a future, Cy Young contender. But this team, they just don't have enough bats. They don't really have a fourth starter. Luzardo pitched out of his mind last night. He's from Douglas High School. a lefty hitting 98. I mean, that's special stuff. But they need another starting arm. They needed Sixto Sanchez, who's hurt. They just don't have enough. And then we'll see what happens with the trade deadline if they try to move some pieces. But realistically, this is a full rebuild, and their prospects have to hit. And unfortunately, Christian Yelich went to my high school, so I've known him for a while. And when the Marlins, traded him away, all of the pieces from that trade, all those prospects were nothing. Like Lewis Brinson gone, Monte Harrison gone, Isan Diaz gone. So they've got nothing out of that, and that's supposed to be the bulk of your roster when you invest that much. So Came in. Obviously, Derek Jeter is gone. So we'll see.
And I'm still mind struck about that. Like you jumped ship, and it kind of was like you're not on. You don't agree with what this team's going, but you kind of said it in that direction. So it's unfortunate, and I know that hopefully we pack up Lone Depot Park tomorrow, but I just hope that it's a good season. But I'll definitely be there. You'll be there. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about the last few minutes was your career in broadcasting and journalism. What would you give someone what advice would you give someone like trying to go into the field? What would you tell your younger self? What would you do different for someone who, like me, who looks up to you and I want to be like you when I grow up? What advice would you give somebody going into the field?
I would say do a different profession. No, I'm playing. It was a struggle to start my first job with a master's degree. I took a job for $19,000.
Wow.
And journalism is not high paying. It's not as glamorous as it looks on TV, but I definitely wouldn't do anything else. I would definitely do a lot of things differently. A lot of times you start in these smaller towns, and I was so worried sometimes about getting to the next step. You forget those moments at a JUCO baseball game where your feet are up on the fence, you're wearing sandals, you got a hot dog, it's just a beautiful summer day, and you're talking to these people in this tiny town. And in Green Bay, Wisconsin, you could raise a family of 4 off of $75,000.
Wow.
Miami, $75,000 is hardly enough.
It's nothing. It's nothing. You can't be middle class here. It's ridiculous.
It's been, it's just enjoy it. Enjoy it with the people. Enjoy the small moments. And it's so hard with social media because these young kids that are coming out are constantly comparing themselves, and then you see the athletes and they're getting all of these NIL deals. They're getting millions of dollars in their early and mid 20s, and you're just like, all right, I'm working for $30,000. I have a roommate. I work nights, weekends, and holidays. I get a week off a year. And
so you don't have a 9 to 5. On Sunday you can't enjoy no, it's not. I worked in the sport industry for many years, and people don't know it's not a 9 to 5. It's not a high paying job. You do it because you love it. So that's the biggest thing, and I'm glad you made that into light.
Yeah, and it's the relationships, and it's the people, and it's telling the stories, and my best thing is, I hope that I get to be a liaison between the fan base and the athletes, and you get to build all these relationships and travel. And there's definitely pros and cons like any job, but if you love it, you do what you love, and it's doing stuff like this where you get their story and hopefully influence and help other people, because I've had so many people to help me, and it's all about paying it forward.
No, that's great. Well, I know you got to leave, but everyone knows where to find you, WSVN Channel 7 News, but where can they find you if they want to connect with you? Twitter and the community? Are you involved with any organizations? How can my followers find you and connect with you? Because you've been fantastic. The chat box has been nonstop, but I've been so hypnotized on what you're saying that I apologize, guys. I'll get back to you, but where can people find you on Channel 7 News?
We'll do episode part 2. So my last name's Moser. So my social media is at the Mose Knows. Since I'm a sports reporter, my old high school coach came up with it. So
I love it. And you played baseball? What did you play in?
Yeah, I played baseball and basketball and ran track in high school. And then in college, I played baseball. I played second base. So, and now it's get to have it as an extension. And I've been fortunate enough to be doing this now, getting paid for almost 15 years. And hopefully it'll be 16, and WSVN will keep me on.
So they can find you on Twitter. You have your Twitter handle there.
Yep, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's all at the Mose Knows. Snapchat, it's real easy. You can search me on WSVN. It has an email if anybody has questions that's watching to answer, and connect with the community and get in with this fan base in South Florida. I've been here a little over a year, and I think this is the best sports teams collectively have been in South Florida in a long time. So
because of you, you're bringing us good luck. So thank you for that.
Good luck.
Keep doing it. Do it all through the playoffs. Can you imagine 2 championships?
Win wherever I've been.
Soon, but 2 championships in Miami this year in South Florida. Right. I can't handle it. That'd be cute. You'd have too much fun.
Yeah, forget the yachts, the boating, the dinners. I want championships.
I know, right? Forget the diamonds and everything. I just want championships, right?
There you
But
go.
anyways, Josh, thank you so much for coming on my show tonight. It means so much to me and to the Miami fan base. We see you on TV, but to get to know you behind the scenes and, to hear your insight and to learn your story is tremendous. So everybody give Josh a follow. Have fun tonight. We'll see you on the news tonight. And go Heat, go Marlins. Catch you at the game tomorrow. Beer's on me.
Got it.
And
we'll link up.
Yes, definitely. So catch you later. Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Got to put the suit and tie back on. Favorite part of the night. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Take care. So, guys, that was amazing. Josh is somebody who I look up to in the sport industry. He does a fantastic job covering our teams. I watch him on Sunday nights as the recap with Drew Rosenhaus. And thank you, guys. I appreciate the comments. But definitely give Josh a follow. He's a great follow on Twitter. Just a great guy to talk to. Really down to earth, as you can see. But as you can see, going into the playoffs, there's so much going on with the Heat. Obviously, we're trying to see if we're either going to play Charlotte, Atlanta, or the Cavs. I personally want to play Charlotte. Atlanta scares me a little bit. Obviously the Nets are away from our hair for now, so we'll see how that goes. And the Panthers going into playoffs, and then Marlins with their home opener tomorrow. So one last thing I want to leave you guys with. My next show is going to be on Monday, but I have an amazing guest. Josh is amazing, but this one, some of you guys might be like, whoa. On Monday, I'm going to have Richmond Webb come on my show. So Dolphins, great. So be sure to have your questions. I'm going to ask your questions before the show so we can ask Richmond whatever you want to ask beforehand. He had a great tenure with the Dolphins and very well respected. So definitely set your clocks for Monday at 8 o'clock. I'll be on with Richmond Webb, and it's going to be an amazing show. So until then, go Heat, go Marlins, go Panthers, and catch you guys later. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.